Welcome to Not From Here, a podcast dedicated to past versions of ourselves
and the current versions of all of you. We are your co-hosts. I'm Riley Klauza.
And I am Isa Rodriguez. And we are just a couple of Michiganders turned New Yorkers trying to get a grip.
Have you ever been made fun of for the way you say things or thought, damn, I never even realized I had an accent?
Well, we have too, because we're definitely
not from here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey!
Oh my God, that was so well done. I'm so impressed.
Oh, thank you.
It was like, come on, beats. Come on, inflection.
there's a rhythm, you know?
There was.
We have done it a million times,
You
but yet
have.
we still fuck it up often.
Correct.
Like, more than you would think.
But that for me was perfect.
Thank you.
And I was like just staring at the screen because I'm at the Kelly Clarkson show studios. I didn't know if anybody knew that. I'm so impressed with this setup. I was like, okay, thank God I did my makeup today. Thank God I put on not my work clothes. But yeah,
Who's with us?
Who are you?
Who the heck are you?
just someone who's obsessed with you both. My name's Meghan Fitton.
Hi,
and I am so
Meghan.
honored to be here.
Oh, we're
I've
so
been waiting for the
welcome.
call. I've been waiting, waiting
You
by the
guys,
phone.
The amount of drunk conversations we've had, like, you will be on the podcast. Like, we have to plan this.
Like, no,
Also, our
like, for
hangouts. We're
real.
always like, we're gonna have a wine night. That has yet to happen.
Literally, at your birthday party, I think I was the only one to like put it in the calendar.
You were.
And
You
then
most
I like
definitely were.
looked the next week and it's like wine night with Isa and Riley. And I was like, that's not happening. It's fine. I don't even need to bring it up. It's okay. I wasn't offended. I was just like, the state was not there.
state.
It was my 25th birthday. I was gone.
And I
Was
thought
out.
about
you
the
should.
state of that night. You know, the reason is because we had started so damn early.
We started drinking at like noon.
You had a full day.
And by the time I saw you, it was like 8 o'clock.
I know.
So I was gone.
And I was in a full red wig.
No.
Things were very disorienting. It's
No one's
totally
home.
okay.
I know. I walk in. I'm like, who is here? Like all the way.
Nobody even know who I was.
I had to like get so close. to
Also,
everyone's
though,
face.
it was so funny because I walked into your party and I think I knew one person, which fine, she's gonna be social. My social skills were on peak that night. I was asking everybody questions. I was like,
like-
girlie, you're the oldest one in the room. You need to act like it. Come on. So I was like, oh my God, how do you know Riley? What's your life? I met your friend Noah. I was like giving him life
Okay.
advice. I was like, girl, you need to settle down.
Wait, that pairing, you and Noah,
You and Noah.
I'd pay money to have been in on that
then all of a
combo.
sudden the wigs come out and then nobody really knows who I am.
Just started to get weird.
And then your sister comes in and she's like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was you. I was like, it's fine. I'm really serving Ariel right now. So
Wow.
And you ladies brought out the red today and
We
forgot
did.
to
I
text me
know.
that there was a memo.
Oh, but can we talk about how annoying I was last night being like, can we all do slick backs?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed.
We're kind of cute. All of us slicked back.
For those listening at home.
For those
And
I
I want you to
forced
know,
it.
I wasn't going to slick back today because last week I slicked back, and I was like, oh, I don't want the viewers to think I'm a double slick back.
Yeah, a one-trick pony. But I
One-trick
am a one-trick
pony.
pony. And I knew for a fact that I would not be straightening or curling my hair. And
Oh, of course.
so I just made it happen.
Just for Megan.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate
here we are.
it.
Here we are. So Megan, how do we know you?
How do we? We've known each other a few years now.
Yeah.
We met at Actor Therapy, Ryan Scott Oliver and Lindsay Mendez's acting school class, however they want to categorize
Surprise. We like.
Yeah.
I feel like every guest is from.
it. I know.
Actor
I was going to
Therapy.
say, as
That's
many of the
why,
people on here probably. Yeah. I don't even know. Just like popping in and out of class. Sometimes I would like be in your class. Then we had got the opportunity to do, we all did Legally Blonde.
Yes.
That
is
that was so long
crazy.
ago.
That's
That-
so long ago.
But I don't know. It's funny how you make, there's so many people within that community and then you just like fall into friendships within that. Like some of my best friends are from that community and I'm still so close with them, but I couldn't tell you like, okay, we met when we did this concert, but I don't know what about
Yeah.
you was like, obviously
Why
I
did
know
we-
now, but in the moment being like,
Like,
that's who I'm going to talk to today. And
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with all of them. So,
know.
and that's kind of what happened with you guys too.
Yeah.
that is kind of
I
what
was like,
happened.
yeah, these girls, cool.
And that's how
I'm
we got
going to
here
mosey
today.
myself over there and insert
I'm
myself.
gonna
Thank you very much. Thank
shimmy
you very
over
much. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So Megan, tell us a little bit about you before New York. Where are you from originally?
I am from Foxborough, Massachusetts. I am a New England girly girl. But I always knew I was going to move here.
You did.
I did. I love Massachusetts with my whole heart, and my parents are still there, and I go back as much as I can, but I do think I was meant to live here.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You definitely give New York energy. Like very much
you.
so I met you the
City
first time. I was
girl,
like, she's
yeah.
from here, 100%.
That's-
But the East,
Wow.
the East Coast makes sense.
I feel like New England girls and city girls share some like, we're kind of like rough around the edges. Not to like be annoying like that.
No,
but I
but
just
let's
feel like,
Get into it.
yeah, a little gritty, like tough. I don't know, resourceful, I guess. I don't know, scrappy girls.
Scrappy
We kind of, I just feel like families in New England are like tough families, very sarcastic, very dry. You take and you give. Like my family can be ruthless.
Yeah.
And if you can't dish, like you got to take and dish. It's
Yeah.
just like nonstop. And I feel like that serves you well for a tough city like New York.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You probably felt really toughened up by the time you got here.
Yeah, for sure. Not that my family was like so mean to me. We get along really, really well, but we definitely love to give each other a hard time. That's
course.
for all in fun and games, of course. But yeah, definitely like gave me a thicker skin, although I am like super sensitive.
But you are a soft
I am a
girl.
Yeah,
soft
you are a
girl. We
soft
can get to
girl.
that later.
We'll get into that.
But yeah,
When did you start doing music? Like, were you always a musical kid? Did you kind of grow up like that?
always.
Yeah.
Always so annoying. I'll always bring this up because I think it's so funny. And I don't know why my mom was like, let's buy her this. But she got me this Fisher Price. I want to call it the Starlight stage. I'd have to Google to make sure I'm like marketing it correct. But basically, it was like a set of curtains with like starlights around the rim of it. And you would pull on a lever and the curtains would open and then the stars would flicker and there would be like an applause sound. And it sat in our playroom. Such drama. And I loved that thing. And I would like put on little shows and like pretend I was on stage. And I really think that my mom getting me that really set the tone for the rest of my life. I was like, I need to be on stage. I need to be singing all the time. I want to make my own shows with my little stuffed animals. Everyone sit on the couch and watch me. I'm really important. Like really starting the narcissism young, you know? So I just always was singing. Whenever the family would come over, they would force me to sing and like belt, always in the talent show.
Yes.
Like with Wicked coming out, I just so reminiscent from my 3rd grade talent show. I sang pretty iconic version of The Wizard and I. And yeah.
Okay, that's
I'll
a
never
hard
forget.
song,
third
too.
grade?
Third grade.
That's
Well, the reasoning is, and I don't know what came over my mom to be like, let's take myself, my brother Mark, and then my cousin Maggie also came with us with her mom to see basically the original cast of Wicked, not Norbert, unfortunately, Joey McIntyre, which is like better for us almost because he's from Boston, New Kids on the Block.
Okay.
So we saw them 3. I was 8 years old, first time in the city, and I was like, I'm moving here. From 8 years old, stayed true to that. And I was obsessed. Me and my brother would put the Wicked soundtrack on. Back then, I was a Glinda because, you know, my brother had to be Alpha.
Of course.
So we would sing Loathing together, act out the whole thing. It was crazy. Knew every single word to every single song. We had the little like lyric book. That binding was broke. The pages were falling out.
You guys
It's
are
just
like,
crazy.
You might as well rip it out.
Yeah. And so when we saw Wicked together, it was like very special because I was like, this was like such a pinnacle moment in my artistic journey. And you were such a big part of it. And here you are like watching it.
Did you
with
guys
me.
cry?
He cried, which he does not cry. I'm the soft girl. He's not. He's like a stone cold killer. And that part, spoiler alert, when Glinda, like in the Dancing Through Life, like puts her face or her hand on Cynthia's face, I turn over and he's tearing. I've seen this man cry maybe like 3 times in my whole life as an adult. And I was like, sir, are you all right?
Are you
like,
okay?
what? But I was vibing the whole time. I was like, dancing through life. Like every moment. I loved it.
God, it was so good.
It was really good.
Why does everything in life just turn into a Wicked conversation?
It really does.
Like that is our lives these days. Like God, I love it. The impact. It's
My
really
whole algorithm is Wicked Reels.
still wicked.
Good. And it
nonstop.
will be till the day.
And then I
die.
send it to Mark, and I'm like, "Hey, watch this. Watch." He doesn't care. I'm just like, let me be annoying.
He's probably at home like, yeah, like whatever, it's fine. And like in bed, he's like, loathing. Yeah. Cultivated loathing.
100%. 100%.
Okay, so going off your background, where did you go to school and what did you study?
I actually went to school for vocal jazz performance.
I knew it.
So I spent a lot of time Scooby Dooby and dotting. And I went to the University of Miami, go Canes. Which is funny because I moved to New York and I meet so many people who went to the University of Miami, but they were in the theater program. But our theater program in our musical theater department are under separate schools. They're in schools of arts and sciences. And then I was in the Frost School of Music. So we did not overlap at all. So I didn't know a lot of those people. Yeah, it's really interesting. And I just wasn't doing any musical theater at that point. I just think I did shows when I was younger. We had a community theater and I had done it. I did my Annie reps. Don't worry. I was in that show twice.
Who were you?
The best Molly there ever was.
Yeah, I knew it. I was like, you're giving Molly or Pepper. Like,
I
it's
was
either.
I
or.
was Molly, and if they had done it for the what usually happened is there was like a lineage. Is you would do Molly, and then you would next year that girl would be Annie, and then of course the year after they were like, we're not going to do Annie this season, and I was like, okay, ruined my dreams. I'm still bitter I never got to play Annie and Annie,
like,
but
that's
you
fine.
know what?
Tomorrow.
It's okay. It's okay. But I had like my stint. I did Seussical. It was in Peter Pan. I did those things. But then I was in the Boston Children's Chorus for such a long time, from 6th grade to 12th grade. And that was like, all right, we're going to do music. And also my jazz program in my high school was really, really strong. So I kind of split my time between those two and really didn't have time to do theater. So I wasn't acting or dancing or anything. But while I was at the University of Miami and I was studying jazz was when Dear Evan Hansen came out. And my roommate at the time was also kind of like we were closeted theater girlies, because in jazz school you don't really like talk about musical theater, even though looking back now so many jazz standards are musical theater songs. So if you want to trash the theater community, maybe look who wrote the song. It's like Gershwin, Cole Porter, like study up. And so Dear Evan Hansen came out and she was showing me this and I became obsessed with it. So obsessed with it that I did a jazz arrangement of Only Us and literally sang it on
pull it up.
my senior recital. It is on my SoundCloud.
Oh. Okay.
Noah, link that.
I don't need you to sell me all the reasons to want you. I don't need you to search for proof that I should. You don't have to convince me. You don't have to be scared you're not enough. 'Cause what we've got going is good. I don't need no reminders of all that's been broken. I don't need you to fix what I'd rather forget. Clear the slate and start over. Try to quiet the noises in your head. 'Cause we can't compete with all that. So what if it's us? What if it's us and only us? And what came before won't count anymore. Matter. We can try that. And what if it's you? And what if it's me? And what if that's all that we needed?
I do cut out the bridge though. Sorry, it's it's new age jazz. I couldn't do it all. But I was so obsessed with that song. It was like number one on my Spotify Wrapped, and then that led me to Dogfight. Which is still top 5 favorite musicals ever. Like, I think it is like the best Pascal and Paul show. Maybe controversial opinion. I don't care. It's so good. The music is amazing. And that's where I found Lindsay Mendez. And I was like, this woman is everything to me, and became so obsessed with her. And I had to learn all about her career. And then, as you can imagine, I was so gooped and gagged to find out that she taught acting classes. So when I moved here so it was pre-Pandy. So I'm old. It was in July of 2028. I took my first actor therapy. 2018. Whoa. I'm so young. And damn it,
I'm so old that I'm actually in the future.
I'm so old. I'm in the future. Yes, July. I did just chug a chai latte with 2 shots of espresso. So maybe this is why. 2018, July 2018, I took my first actor therapy class in November of that year.
She's an OG.
Oh,
But it's like I'm not, because my really, really good friends are even more OG than me.
than you.
But now it's just like a whole new class of people. I don't know who anybody is.
I know
Yeah,
who no
because
one is.
in
And the
my
fact
brain-
that y'all say that, and you were like post-pandemic
I know.
people is
Like,
crazy.
right post.
Every
yeah.
time they post something, I'm like, who? I'm like,
So I'm
Which
like, I
is
can't
great
even
for them.
imagine.
New people always coming in.
But I'm
Yeah.
like, it's such a big community.
Yeah.
It's cool
Girl.
to see, like, almost like it feels kind of like classes, like graduating classes.
It really does.
And it's like people always come back, but it does feel like an alumni. I mean, I guess that is what they are.
And I do
alumni.
like how we're like connected by all of it. Like, oh, you took that. You took actor therapy. Okay, me
Like,
too.
oh, you probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
So I kind of derailed that conversation of where I went to school and where I studied, but it kind of connected back to
Yeah, we're back.
where we are.
you're literally perfect. You can do nothing wrong.
Don't tell me that.
Tell us a little bit about your life here. Like, what do you do? How do you stay afloat? And if you want to sprinkle in any fun horror stories or, lessons that you've learned that New York has taught you, all of that is accepted.
Don't give me permission, because I will get on a soapbox. Sometimes
on
I
that
can get
soapbox.
preachy. Going back to Noah, the poor kid, I literally was like giving him my full Dr. Phil. And I was like, you need to stop. You literally just met this person and you're like giving them every single life advice. I'm like, I'm so sorry if I'm just like preaching in your face. So I tend to do that, probably to like feel better about myself, of like, I'm wise, and even though my life's a mess, I still have something to contribute to other people.
You're like, I'm wise.
I'm
It's wisdom.
wise. I better be by now. Just a little sprinkle of wisdom.
Yes.
So anyway, I digress. How I live my life here, the survival job has been fitness. I'm a fitness girly. I've taught everything, or a lot of things. I started out as a Pure Barre instructor.
Work.
I taught spin class. I taught a little bit of Pilates reformer for a minute.
Oh my God.
Back to spin. But now I work at a running treadmill based interval class, which is called Mile High Run Club. And I love it.
Yes.
And I've been there for almost 3 years in April.
Wow.
Yeah. So I do that. And then if I'm lucky, hopefully I'll have like gigs on the side, doing my own original music, or I just sang at a piano bar, did like a little jazz set. I'm coming back full circle to my college degree, putting it to use. We spent a lot of money on her, so might as
Why
well
not?
just
Yeah.
like test her out.
See how it goes.
So just doing that and auditioning when I feel like it.
Yep.
Gotta
Yep.
take that as it
As
is. Keep it good for the soul, something you want to do rather than you feel obligated to.
Yes.
Yeah, and just
How long have you been like in a fitness journey? Like, were you always fit, or is it something like, is it something that you like came across later in life, or?
I think my dad will say, I have 2 older brothers. I'm the youngest and only girl. My dad will always say I am the most competitive child. So it's kind of just been in my DNA since birth, just to always be competing. I was a big, big soccer girl. Played like 3 seasons all the way up till high school. But then I switched to field hockey. So I played field hockey all 4 years of.
You're so well rounded. Oh my
You really
God.
are.
I just feel like my brain, I need to be doing a million things at once. I could never be a pointed person. I admire people so much that can just say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to sit down and just focus on one thing. I've never, ever, ever been able to do that. Even though I always knew I wanted to perform and do music, I still couldn't just give all of my energy to that. I needed like some outlets to like balance it all out. So I played field hockey in high school all 4 years. Then when I got to college, I don't know, I think with field hockey, we had a coach that was notorious for making us run a lot. And I also just like had a knack for it, and I actually enjoyed it, unlike people who are like, I can never run, I hate it so much, which I get it, heard. But my older brother Mark was also really good at running, and we would run with our dad sometimes. And so I always had this idea of wanting to do a half marathon or like some sort of races. And I think when I went to college and then came back for the summer, you're always like, what do I do with myself? I was just like going 100 miles an hour, whether it be having a million hours of homework to do, or I'm like drinking myself to death. Or, you know, I think back to that girl and I'm like, how are you alive? I don't know.
Right.
But then you go home and all of that is gone. And I felt a real lack of purpose. And so I was like, you know what? This summer I'm going to run a half marathon. It was between my sophomore and my junior year of college.
Wow.
And then since then, I've just been kind of doing more of that. I also felt like when I was graduating college that I needed a job, that I obviously wasn't going to get a record deal right out of graduating. Like we can only hope, but you know, unfortunately it didn't happen. And I just felt like fitness was a well-paying job. It was around people. It was moving. You get perks from it. Like you get free classes and it doesn't take up a lot of your time. And it's in the beginning of the day or the end of the day. Yeah. So I just thought it was like really like a suitable job for also trying to pursue music or whatever the city was gonna.
Totally, because you're taking care of your body and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah. And I've just kind of never looked back since. And it's also brought a lot of inspiring and just like good people into my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you ran the marathon,
I
correct?
did run the New York City Marathon, which was like, oh my God, I was thinking about this. And this is how psychotic I am, is I ran the marathon on Sunday. I was in active therapy the next day.
No, she like walked in and Ryan's like, congrats. Like,
Like,
hey,
you ran a marathon.
like, you literally ran a marathon yesterday.
That, I was
and
like,
here you are in class.
You're doing too much. Like, girl, take a day off. I think I was like making up a class though, and that was like the only day that I could do it. At least I didn't come in with my medal on like some douchebag.
Oh,
Please.
that's fair. Because you really could have too, and
No, I
everybody
would've
would
ate
have
it
been
up.
like, "That's sick."
I'm like, yes, please, of course.
Yeah, so I ran the New York City Marathon. I honestly, for any New Yorker, I recommend it. It obviously isn't the most comfortable thing to do, but it was like the best day of my life, like top 5. I had trained, obviously there was a time that I wanted to meet, because again, competitive girl, like couldn't just do it like any normal person and just chill and like enjoy the experience. But I did enjoy the experience, and the whole city comes out. And I also just think in a time where we are literally living in a dumpster fire, that is one day where everybody's coming out in support of each other.
Yeah.
And I always, again, here's a soft girl moment, ding 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 to what we were talking about before, is I cry every race that I run.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a personal appreciation for what my body has allowed me to do, but also the community that is cultivated of strangers, like literally strangers. And we're all running together and like sharing this experience of, obviously that's not comfortable.
Yeah.
But to achieve, I don't know, like
For different
something really
reasons,
cool.
too.
Yeah. And everyone's doing it for different reasons. I ran it for charity. And my brother also did it. I forced him into doing a marathon, which I don't think he would have done if I didn't give him the push. And we both raised money for the same charity. And it was just like really cool. My parents came out and watched us run. My dad was a runner, and it's always fun for him to like see us go. And like, it's just awesome. So great. You see people that you weren't expecting to see, or people track you. Yeah, it was just like so beautiful. I recommend it. I want to do it again. I want to run more marathons if I can like get that energy again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
For people that don't live in New York, like Marathon Day is such a special day. Like
There's
we
nothing
both
like it.
live right off of First Avenue, and
Yeah.
it's just like it like makes me cry, and I'm like not.
I
involved
cannot watch it without
whatsoever.
sobbing. Like I literally
it's
can't.
really beautiful.
Oh, everyone on the side like of the street, and just like oh
Yeah.
The worst is not the worst. It's literally the best. But it
live
makes
on-
me
we live off of
cry.
First Avenue. Oh, I thought that's what you were gonna
No,
say.
no. But when like you see a runner like see their people like on the
So
sidelines and they
beautiful.
get like so excited and then they run over and they're like and you're just like I'm
like, I gotta
witnessing such a moment and I don't even know these people.
Right.
So amazing. Like very wholesome.
And there's
New York
just
City day.
nothing but joy that day. Like
yeah.
there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Which I think is really special. We live in like a pretty cranky city in a pretty cranky time in the world. And I think, I don't know, it's just so beautiful
Absolutely.
to be a part of it. And I had a lot of friends running this year, so I got to go and watch them and cheer. So it's always just a special day. And I was happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Megan, you've had a pretty interesting journey. So you did American Idol, correct?
Oh, God, I did.
I fucking love American Idol. Megan. Like
She's a super fan.
I've watched that shit my whole life growing up. Like, I need to know your experience.
Did you see the episode that I was on?
No, I've only seen the
I
clip
saw
of
you're a
your
fake
audition.
fan.
I saw the clip.
I've seen the clip of your audition, but
Okay.
now we're gonna all go home and we're all gonna watch it.
No, they
Together.
took my audition down.
I'm sorry.
I don't know why, but they were like, I know. It's totally fine. I think I have
not.
very mixed emotions about the American Idol experience.
That's fair.
At the end of the day, it is a television show, and you have to take that with a grain of salt. I do have some really beautiful moments from it, though. I think the only reason I was thinking about this earlier is I knew y'all were going to bring it up. But I think the only reason that I was featured, because at the time I was a basic ass bitch, and I will elaborate on that.
What year was this again?
I don't remember. It was right before the pandemic, so
Okay.
I think it was 2019 into 2020, because all the people that made it much farther than me had to do like top 10 at their homes. Like all of that was like they sent them
That's
recording.
crazy.
Wait, no,
stuff.
I watched that season.
Yeah.
That's wild. I bet I did.
I was
watch
the
you.
premiere episode. My
Oh, girl,
audition.
You know, I
Then
was
you
sat down
probably
for that.
did, yeah.
So basically, I was like in New York for maybe like a year and a half. Your first year in New York, I say it to literally everyone, including Noah. This was part of my spiel to him. Is your first year is trash. Like
The worst.
Literally the worst year of your life. You second guess your whole existence and you're like, why the fuck did I want to move here? It's not fun. You're so poor, still poor, but like you're so poor. You have no idea, like transitioning from like maybe living an expensive life to like, how do I survive here? Like I just bought coffee. I was like, that was expensive.
free.
Shouldn't have done that,
Yeah.
but YOLO. And you're so tired. New York tired is a different tired than any other tired I've ever experienced in my life.
Correct.
And I was just like, what am I doing? I have no idea what to do. I'm playing gigs. I was doing a lot of not solo shows, but like original music shows at the time. And it would be like my brother and his roommate. So I was just like, where is the upward momentum? Like, I'm really lost. I have no direction. And I was on this like Facebook page of, it was like actors, singers, opportunities. And some producer from American Idol was like, I'm a producer. If you want to be considered for the show, like send me your information, send me clips. And I was kind of against it for a really long time. But at that point, I was kind of in like a fuck it attitude. So I sent it over. He reached out to me. And because I was linked to a producer, it was like an open call in New York, but I got to skip like the first round of it.
Yeah.
I still had to wait around that day for hours and hours and hours. Like, called out of work. I was like, I'm not coming in. Sorry. I waited months for this day.
Yeah.
And I went right to a set of producers. Then I went upstairs again to like the main producer, sang an original song. Me and my friend Brian were like taking it very not serious. I was like, this is so low stakes at this
Yeah.
point. But basically you go through a preliminary round. And then they decide, okay, you're going to go to one of the cities where the auditions are happening. And they make it seem like those are the only auditions, well, where there's multiple rounds. And for people who are in smaller states, luckily I was in New York where it's like, this is a one and done. They had to like get through the rounds in their smaller state and then go to like Nashville and do like a whole other round. So it's just to get on the show is a feat in itself.
Yeah.
Of course.
And then after the fact, luckily I was asked to go or accepted to meet the judges who at the time or still are, I don't remember what's happening now. I think Katy Perry's on her way out. I'm not sure.
I think she
there's a
is.
new judge,
Isn't she being replaced by Carrie Underwood?
I think so.
Contro. Okay, we're gonna put a pin in that.
We're putting a pin in that.
But it's like it was Lionel Richie, Luke Bryan, and Katy Perry at the time. And then you go downstairs and they ask you a bunch of questions. So this is where I say I'm a basic ass bitch because I have no tragedy in my life, which so thankful for, obviously. But I'm just like a white girl
they
from
want the
Massachusetts.
tragedy,
Yeah,
though.
I'm just a white girl from Massachusetts. Like there's nothing. I'm interesting, but like my life as a whole in comparison to the people on the show, not so interesting.
Right.
And so this is where I laugh at myself every time because I go, what do you do besides sing? And what was my answer? Mind you, I'm a poor person living in New York City, is watch television. I couldn't think
That's
of
it.
couldn't think of
You're like-
anything else. I was like, I'm literally laying horizontal, computer on my chest, watching everything Netflix has to offer. And they were like, so what do you watch? And I was like, at the time, I was obsessed with The Bachelor. Like, like had it bleeding through my veins. I was like so obsessed.
Did you watch Matt James' season?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay, because I have thoughts.
Okay. And yeah, a lot of pop culture controversies are popping up in this
A
midst
lot.
of
And
this
I've
interview.
had no one to talk about it with. So when you said Bachelor, I was like,
Yeah.
wait.
So I was obsessed. Like I had like this really jankety jank podcast, was we call it, and putting that in air quotes for those listening, because I would literally talk into my phone and do a recap and put it on a SoundCloud account. Nobody listens, like literally nobody.
About The Bachelor?
Yeah, about The Bachelor.
That is
Literally, I'm
amazing.
laying in my bed being like, so this happened and that was crazy. Like talking to myself. And mind you, I'm 23 years old. Like, girl, what are you doing? But I loved it
sick.
so much. I just had to get my thoughts out.
Yeah.
Like
You're
I
like,
had
you
to
need
get
You're like,
my thoughts
I'm
out.
consumed.
Mind you, it was called I Watch The Bachelor and You Don't Care. Like I knew no one cared what I was about to say, but like I cared so much. But I was like every Monday night I was locked in. I was so excited. And so when she said, what do you like to watch? Obviously, that was the first thing out of my mouth, not thinking that The Bachelor and American Idol are on the same network. They're both on ABC. And let me tell you, they took that and ran. In the back of my mind, I was like, every girl is basic. Everyone is part of Bachelor Nation. Everybody
Yeah.
loves this. Guess not. Or someone could have thought of a better idea or a better thing than they asked them, what do you like to do? Then watch television. Like, I'm so appalled by my answer.
Literally anything else.
But basically, and this was a good day. I had to go to one of the major cities where they were actually filming the auditions. And one of them was Savannah. I have another brother, Matthew, who lives there with his wife. And at the time they had just had their first kid. And obviously Matt and his wife, Jordan, aren't allowed to, or not that they're not allowed. They're not able to like make it to a lot of my shows or performances because they live so far away. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to choose Savannah. We're all going to fly down there. Both my parents, Mark came with us as well. And we had like a full like family day with the new baby. They all got to be a part of my audition day. And because I had this like bachelor stick, some people show up and we get there at like 6 a.m. Some people have to stay till 10 p.m. to audition. And that's all they do is just sit and wait. Because I had this like bachelor stick, I was like doing so much. I was really lucky. I got interviewed. Me and Mark were like doing B-roll, like jumping up and down. Like my whole family got interviewed. But the funniest thing was they have you do B-roll, or some people, they're filming me like looking over the balcony of the hotel or whatever. But they put flower petals, rose petals, like The Bachelor, in my hands, and they had me like blow it out. They're asking me questions about The Bachelor. At the time, I was like, Ben Higgins is the best bachelor there is. Like, I'm so obsessed with him. And then who cares about the actual audition? Whatever. I went in. I got a golden ticket.
Yeah, you did.
I got to hold Lionel Richie's hand and look into his eyes. That was crazy.
Oh my God.
And then I came out. My whole family freaked out. We almost smushed Ryan Seacrest like against the wall. Poor thing. He's so small. He was like, don't worry, I'm used to it. I was like, Ryan's in the back. We're crushing him. Super nice guy. Well, I remember also we were in towers and like the waiting area was in one tower and then the auditions was in the other. And we had to cross the street and go up the elevator. They're like, once you're in the elevator, you're going to be filmed. So try not to swear or anything. And the minute I get in the elevator, I remember that I'm about to meet Ryan Seacrest, this man that I've been watching since I was literally 8 years old when it premiered. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, oh my God. I'm so, because I was like, just overwhelmed.
Cameras, I'm so sorry. Can we refilm?
Right. So that was a really fun day. Obviously, it all worked out in my favor. And so that was really cool. And I got to spend with me and my family have this like memory of a day that was like a whirlwind and it was crazy and that was really cool. And then we had a watch party here in New York City too, which was really fun. Like a bar was so nice, didn't pay a dime, and they were like, have all your friends come, we'll play it on the big screen on their projector. So fun. And a bunch of people came. It was really, really special. And I was on the premiere episode. So like that's really cool.
Sick.
But once I got to Hollywood, that was another story. It was just, I just feel like I did not thrive there.
Yeah.
The first day is actually 2 days because there's so many of us.
Yeah.
I think there was around 200 and change.
Wow.
Yeah. And just sitting there and they want you to like sit and watch everybody. And everybody was like good enough to make it to Hollywood. So it's not like you're listening to anybody bad.
Yeah.
And for me, if it was up to me, I would have just stayed in the waiting room and like kind of just had a moment to myself. And of course, I was on the second day, more towards the end. So, and of course, then I did the classic American Idol mistake, picked the wrong song. I literally just sang a song that I loved, trying to be interesting.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I was sent home on the first round, which was a bummer. But
still, yeah.
it was a cool experience. And I will say my favorite part of the Hollywood experience was all of us that get eliminated. I'm giving all the inside scoop.
I'm living
I think
for
that my like NDA expired by now, so whatever.
I feel like that was
Someone
literally
knocks on my door with
pre-pandy.
handcuffs. Here's your $10,000 fine for giving American Idol secrets on air. Basically, if you're eliminated, you can't stay in the hotel with all the other contestants. My roommate made it all the way to like, you know, where they go to Hawaii now.
Yeah.
She made it all the way to Hawaii, like top
40.
40. Yeah, exactly. She was so good. Yeah. No, thank you. I don't even know the show that I'm
like
on.
top 40. Yeah. They go to Hawaii.
So, and I'm happy for her. She had a whole room to herself that entire stressful week. So I'm happy for her.
welcome,
You're welcome.
bestie.
It's all my doing. But anyway, they ship all the eliminated singers to another hotel near LAX. And so what did we all do? We all got our own rooms there, which was nice. We drop our bags. And we all go downstairs to the hotel bar. We get absolutely shit-faced. This doesn't paint me in a pretty picture, but you know what? We were all sad.
What else are you gonna do?
Right.
Yeah.
I had already cried, and then they filmed me calling Mark, and Mark is like such a sassy little bitch, and he's like, Megan, it's a television show. Like, who cares? Like he's trying to be like, whatever, and I'm like, am I bad? Like, I don't what? Like, I just did so bad. He's like, Megan, who gives a fuck? Like, who cares?
The Bachelor girl.
Yes.
Bachelor girl.
Bachelor Girl is done. I will say when that episode, when the Hollywood episode aired, the first round, and I obviously got eliminated after the first day, they did do, you know, it was like, and we say goodbye to, like, I was significant enough that they were like, Meghan Fitton. Isn't that cool? And my dad got a little like spot. It was me like hugging him after I got eliminated because he was the only one that got to come with me because he had business in the area.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God, Dad, you're on national television again. Slay, slay.
Famous.
2 credits now.
Literally. But yeah, it was just wild. So we all go to the hotel bar. We're all drinking. We're drinking shots. We're having the grand old time. And one of the other guys who got eliminated, who was actually in Savannah with me, so we kind of went through the journey together. He was like, he said the most significant thing was now when like an older person, it's usually like, or Issa is like, maybe you should be on American Idol. He's like, that old lady, we are always going to be like, well, at least I did. Yeah.
like,
I
did.
was, and it didn't work out. So never suggest that again to me.
You're like, any other ideas?
Any other ideas? Exactly. So that
Why
was.
is that always what they say?
I don't
go on
know.
American Idol. I'm like, well,
But also not to trash the show. Like, I think it can be a really good outlet for some people. Like, I obviously got like a handful of followers.
Yeah.
They're lacking in their engagement, but like that kind of thing. But I look back at the show and I'm like, okay, you have to make it to like top 10, I think, for it to be significant. And so all of us are so talented that we're on it. And like, you have to make it to a certain point where it actually changes your life. At this point, when we watched it, season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe up to like 7, 8, those people were like Kelly Clarkson is Kelly Clarkson because of American Idol.
100%.
And so the culture around it changed. And again, not to trash the show. If you want to go on it, give it a whirl. It was something that I can say that I did. A life
just, like,
experience for sure.
Silly.
But it is a show. It's a
Yeah.
television show.
it's wild.
But yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
It's on the resume.
Thank you for
You know
sharing.
I'm putting it in every
It's a good
actor's
as
access
you
info
should.
box. So like
You're like, I was there.
I was on American Idol. I was the Bachelor girl.
right.
I was the Bachelor girl.
So it is what it is.
Obsessed. Okay. Shifting gears.
Shifting gears.
Shifting
We're back
gears.
in the city and we're doing cabarets.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about your work with Women Do It Better and Soft Girl? as you mentioned?
Yeah. I've just been like, again, like an all over the place type person. And when I moved to the city, I was like, obviously, like I said, I was obsessed with Lindsay. So I like wanted to take actor therapy and kind of get into that world. I've always secretly wanted to be a musical theater girl, but just like how my path shifted more towards music, I kind of like took time away from that. But I don't know, there was something like in my core that was telling me that I could do it. So I started auditioning, but I feel like, as y'all know, things don't just like get put in your lap unless you're really, really lucky. And I was like, I'm kind of tired of sitting around and waiting for someone to give me an opportunity. And I think that it is time for me to start creating some of my own. And I always have ideas. Like, I have a laundry list of things that I would like to do. And it wasn't until I met our mutual friend, Paris, who's also an actor therapy girly. And I told her this idea while we were doing Legally Blonde. I remember we were remember that like basement rehearsal place
Yes. So
we were like
random.
sitting
I literally do.
we were sitting there and I was like, Paris, what do you think of this idea? And when I create work or like have an idea, it's mostly female centered because I'm so sick and tired of men having the say and men having the most interesting characters. And I feel like women now, it's getting so much better, but a lot of like characters in film, television, and theater have been like the damsel in distress or like the one-dimensional woman, and I'm like over it. And a lot of epic musical theater songs are sung by the male lead.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not into that, but I love these songs. And I think it would be really interesting if women were given the platform to sing these songs, and it also changes the perspective of the song and makes, I think, it a lot deeper and more nuanced. And so I was telling Paris this idea of what if there was a cabaret that all women, and we were singing songs originally performed by male characters. And she was like, oh my God, let's do it. And I feel like I needed somebody, not that I need to like ask for permission, but I needed someone to like hold my hand in the first thing that I was like trying to curate. Yeah. And I really owe it to her to give me that like final push, because I had been really like marinating this idea for so long, but I just didn't know how to take the first step. And I think when you have someone, as I'm sure you guys felt when you were starting this podcast, to be like, oh, I really want to do this and I have this idea and I don't know what your origin story is, but when you have someone to be like, with their like have a shoulder to lean on, it makes it so much more obtainable and less scary. Because if you can't figure it out, then you can talk it out with someone. Maybe they have an idea. And that's exactly what happened. And now we are going to be on our 4th one.
It's crazy.
Which is
It's coming up
crazy.
soon,
It's
right?
coming
Throw a
up
little
March
plug in there.
1st. March 1st, 54 Below.
Gotta go. We'll be there.
And you guys were in our 3rd rendition of it, and it was amazing. And
So fun.
also just like to be able to give opportunities for our friends who are just so talented. And obviously we were like, yeah, we're going to ask Isa and Riley. Like, we love them. And create a community of like people that we love. And I will say my favorite part about it, besides like obviously I love the actual show and I have such fond memories of like looking out and like seeing all of our friends and family. Like your family came from Michigan, both of your families. I was like, oh my God, I got to meet your dad and got to meet your parents. So cute.
You really did.
And I think that was the first time I met your sister as well. So it's just really special for me to like then know more about you and see more of your life, but looking out in the audience and like having people respond. But my favorite moments is every single time is sound check when like most or if not all of the cast is there with the full band and everybody's singing through. And that's when we're all really like hyping each other up. And
so
I
good.
get to look at Paris and I get to say like, we did that. And that's always like really special because it's so hard out here, y'all.
It is.
And it really gets to you. Like, and I've had a lot of trouble navigating it. And like, there's so many ways. No one really teaches you how to deal with like the highs and the lows and the rejection and like not being able to like do what you want to do because you kind of need someone to give it to you or allow you to do it. Which can be really like degrading in a way. And then to be the person that is finally like in power and to just say like, you know what, someone might not be booking Isa right now, but like I'm gonna be the bitch that says, I know you, I see you, I know that you're talented.
You're like literally this whole spiel that you're on. It's just like I'm like it's just so good. I'm like just keep talking, just keep going.
But it's true, like
it's so true.
and I
So
love
many
you guys
chords.
so much.
Yeah.
I also know that you're like good people.
Yeah.
And the reason I was so excited to come on to the podcast is like I just fucking love you guys. I want to hang out with you and I like want to talk to you. Yeah. So
This is our wine night. Actually,
Legit.
no,
This
it
is our
is.
wine night.
It is going to
Insane.
happen. No, it's going
And
to happen.
we're like please put us on air.
yeah. And I guess in the same realm, Women Do It Better is like really special and it's a little bit more collaborative. Obviously, I do it with Paris, but I feel like being someone who kind of all my friends or a lot of my friends have wanted to be on Broadway. That's their singular goal since the beginning of whenever. And I was always like, I want to be Christina Aguilera, but then I was doing theater and then I like wanted to be a jazz singer for a second. And I do want to do all of those things. And I feel again, like sometimes I'm all over the place and I feel a little inadequate in certain corners because I'm like too spread thin. And one of those was musical theater. Like I really just want to be in a show and I want a cast. And I think that when it came to produce, I wanted to produce my own show that allowed me to sing everything that I wanted to sing, including musical theater, because I feel like, oh, I'm like a pop rock girl. Like I'm only going to be in Rent or Jagged Little Pill or that's, but then I was like, no. Like I know that I can sing soprano or like, I know that I can do golden age stuff. And I wanted to showcase that. But I also wanted a through line of that show. I didn't just want to do like here are my favorite songs and I'm screaming the whole time. And so that's where the idea of like Soft Girl came into play. And I had always thought about doing a solo show and I had different ideas, but this one really felt authentic and a story that I wanted to tell. And I just thought like a lot of things make me cry. I've been going through it the past couple years since the pandemic. And I wanted to talk about that. And I also wanted to be like, I know a lot of my other friends are going through it. And I also knew it's like, it's funny. It's funny to cry. It's funny to like be emotional.
It is.
And it's cathartic. So let's talk about that. And in the midst of that, what songs can kind of relate to that. So I obviously being a woman is like a whole thing to be upset about. I always say being a woman is a mental disorder. And that was actually a joke that I made in the show.
That's so funny.
So I sang like an ironic version of I enjoy being a girl. And I also did like a version of Some People, but changed some lyrics about like how I don't want to be dainty or like in the kitchen or things like that. I talked about that I was competitive. Like I used to cry every time we played a board game when I was younger. So I did like a Eye of the Tiger competitive moment. And I've like dabbled in stand up. And so I was able to kind of incorporate that as well. And I just like really encourage anybody who has even a small idea, even if you don't think it's good, like run with it. And that was one thing I want to commend you guys on as well. Like girlies that get shit done. I'm sure when you wanted to start this, you were like, I don't know if this is like a good idea. But regardless of like, I've
Trials
learned
and tribulations.
I've learned through doing the solo show as well as Women Do It Better. Even if I'm obviously really hard on myself, if I don't think it was like the best thing ever created, even though like I love Women Do It. I love it. I think it is so special. It's so special to me. And I was so proud of my show. Like, not to say this is the reason to do it, but people are going to look at you and say, what you're doing is really cool. And like, I want to be a part of it. Or I wish I could do that. Because regardless if you think that it's good or not, you're doing something that they might be afraid of doing.
100%.
And I think that that's a way to reframe it in your brain to be like, okay, I don't have to be perfect. But I'm out here like trying.
Yeah.
And I think just the trying of it all and like the taking risk of it all is really brave and admirable. 100%. So good on you as well.
Thank you.
Doing this podcast.
And thank you. And I think that's why you're such a good guest too. Like, you said something and I can't remember exactly what it was. You said it was like, it's cathartic and it's kind of funny to like talk about, to cry and like how hard life is.
Yeah.
And I feel like I love our platform so much because like our path, and like it sounds like yours is kind of similar. It's like to just show the reality of what you do. And it's like by doing all of these things, you're proving that like it's hard, but like it can be done, but it can still be done in a realistic and relatable way.
Yeah.
Like you can make a podcast and still talk about mental health issues and how we're all kind of crazy and fucked up and like insane and haven't booked, like, you know what I mean? Like I'll say it, like, I'm like, I haven't booked anything in my whole time in New York. And it's like, I can have like, you can still be inspirational and motivated and driven and like be struggling.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's actually inspiring is like people who are like real and like struggling and gritty and got a little East Coast mass, whatever in them. Like,
Well, yeah, I
just,
think
like,
that
I love the mesh of it all.
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful. Like I always say that my goal is just I want to tell everyone all my secrets. Like I really do. But I want to tell them in like a curated way.
Of course.
But that's a lot of where like if I were to do another solo show, maybe it would be about, I don't know, like being on antidepressants or like things like that. Cause that was something that I've like just started this past year and I already feel such a big change. And I had a lot of shame about starting on medication. And then the minute that I heard a friend be like, oh my God, I went on to the psychiatrist the other day and I am on this med now and this med. I was like, yeah, I needed to hear you, someone that I am so obsessed with and I love, say that you need help for me to be like, yeah, let's make the appointment.
Yeah.
You know?
Like maybe I could get some help too.
Right.
Yeah.
And your secrets are probably my secrets. And so are they even secrets? Like, why are we like holding so much close?
Everyone's gatekeeping.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like holding on to so much that so many other people are probably holding on to.
Exactly.
And that's why I like, obviously it's a scary thing. And I'm not just going to be like, this, like, here's all my secrets.
Here are my
But
yeah.
if I don't know, I want to relate to as many people as possible. And if someone else is like struggling with what I'm struggling with, like I want to be that hand that they can hold and vice versa.
100%.
Because clearly that person did that for me.
Yeah.
Just by like goofing off and being like, I'm on antidepressants now. And it was like, yeah, I think I need that.
You're like, yeah, making the appointment like
Literally
right now.
telehealth this instant. Yeah, literally.
At this moment.
At this exact moment. Yeah. Crazy.
Okay, Megan, the question of the day. You ready? What makes you not from here?
Oh my God. I don't know. I think I look at city kids and I'm like, you're so cool. Like I just feel like city kids know who they are.
So true.
They have a style. They have a swagger. That's why if I ever have kids, I want to have them here. Because I'm like, I want you to be cool.
I want you to be cool.
I also grew up like a super anxious girly. And I was afraid of literally everything and everyone. And like the idea that the kids here are there's so much there. I think it's because I grew up in a very non-diverse city. Everyone looked the same. We all just like celebrated the same holidays. It's just like religiously, like looks wise, like very much a nuclear family setting, like by the book, Norman Rockwell type of deal. Like, I don't want, not to be like, I'm going to be a mother anytime soon, but like, I don't want my kids to kind of have that upbringing. Not that it was bad, but I want them to have that exposure.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I had gotten to the city sooner, I would know myself more, because you're actually put to the test.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be resilient and you have to figure out who you are, or you're not going to survive. And
Yeah. Love that.
I think, and that's why we see people that they want to act, they want to perform, and they feel like they need to be here, but they don't like New York. I'm sure you have friends like that.
Oh, yes.
And they
We're
feel
like,
the
yes.
they feel the need to be here because of what they want to do.
Totally.
I feel like even if I was like one day woke up and I was like, I don't want to perform anymore, I would live here.
Still be here.
I would still be here. And so maybe deep down in my core, I am a New Yorker, but I am a Bostonian, which is controversial to say. I'm sorry to all the Yankees fans out there. Don't come for me.
None of them listen, to be fair. No sports fans.
No.
None.
But I do think like, yeah, I think that's it. It's like I'm still in the evolution of becoming the New Yorker that maybe I was meant to be from birth. But I
love it.
But I'm excited to see who that is. I've grown so much. The city has put me through it. It's still putting me through it. But I love it. I love it. I will never leave. I want to die in my apartment. Like I really do. I really do. Or maybe in a nicer apartment when I finally have like a doorman and an elevator. But
Yes.
that's
But in that one.
But that one, I do. I love it here so much. I'm so happy that I have so many so much exposure, that I get to meet people like you on the regular, people that understand me. That is a huge thing.
Yeah.
That like the people from home, I love them and we have history, but there's a level that we, even though we've only known each other for what, 2 years, 2.5 years,
Yeah.
that we understand what we're going through.
Yes.
And yeah, I guess that I didn't have that understanding. And that is what makes me not from here.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. Megan, thank you so much for joining us. As we mentioned, this has been such a work in progress, and we're just so happy to finally make it happen. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on my Instagram at Meghan, which is Meghan Fitton, Fitton. And that's pretty much it. Instagram is where it's at.
Yeah, okay, but your TikTok's been popping off too. I see you every day, but
But it got banned today. We can't plug
I
TikTok
know.
anymore.
bye. It's gone. Anyway.
Thank you so much to Noah as well for all of your editing and your magic. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, please feel free to do so. We've got videos on there. Also, just so that you know, we're going to have episodes coming out on Monday now. Don't ask questions. That's just the rule.
It's just,
So
we're busy.
Mondays.
Sorry.
Well, yeah,
We're
you
busy.
can now tune in on Mondays. We'll start the week off fresh with a new Not From Here episode.
Perfect. And if you want to keep up with us on social media, our @ is @notfromhere.podcast. That is NOTFROMHERE.PODCAST. And as always, I am Riley Klauza.
I'm Isa Rodriguez,
And I'm Meghan Fitton.
and we're definitely
Not from here.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.